Hello, everybody.
Hey.
How's it going out there? All right. Yes. Welcome to the RCS office and studios for this live LinkedIn Live. And today we are going to go over something that this one's really near and dear to his heart. And this one's about go. This one's about.
We're going to be talking about how to onboard, train, work with, collaborate, and unfortunately, if you have to offboard someone, how do you do that in a remote world? I was driving in with my nephew today to the office. He's about to take on a job, and guess what? They don't have an office. So how do you deal with that? It can be done very effectively, and there's a lot of tools out there and a lot of best practices you could leverage to make it easy, and we're going to talk about that today. But specifically, if you guys have any specific questions or comments or pain points that we could potentially talk about and help you with, please put it in the chat, and we're happy to talk about it. So here we go, right?
Yeah, let's get this started. Well, let's get this started by bringing you guys in. Why are you here today? Like, what are the things you're looking to get out of this? Is there some pain point or other that, you've, oh my God, I got to deal with this because it's just so annoying to us. Every time I hire, every time I get rid of somebody, I got to deal with this. Whatever it is there any pain points or problems that you're looking to solve? Throw it in the comments.
That's right.
And while I'm waiting for that to happen, checking the comments here on my phone, we are going to jump in and get started. So first, you hire somebody. Yes, the excitement is there. You've interviewed this person and you're thrilled, you're psyched to bring them on. Okay, so let's onboard them, right? Okay.
What do we need?
I'll tell you what we need. In this day and age, we need a computer of some sort. Whether it's a computer that we are providing, whether it's a cloud computer, whether it's, I don't know, maybe they're bringing their own thing, but there's a computer involved. We can assume that, correct?
Yes. That's definitely a safe assumption.
Okay, good. So now this is one of those things that actually, it snuck up on me how important this is. Procurement has become this really big, important thing in our company for our clients. Right? We've gone through all of this. There's no supply of anything. There's supply chain issues, and you can't get computers. And oh my God, it's just kind of a nightmare as far as getting product in the computer space right now.
Yeah.
So just the idea of getting someone a computer, if you don't have a procurement something working on that, it's a bit of an issue. And it's so great that we have our procurement team. They help our clients. My God, they help our clients so much.
Right. And then the challenges that we find, that our clients find, is basically if you're doing things where a computer is needed, and we have another cool idea where it's not, which we'll talk about. But when you order a computer, there's lead time issues, and then now you onboard the computer. Someone has to do it in person, and then ship it out to the user, right? That's the old way of doing it. And tell us what the new way of doing it is, Norm.
The new way of doing it is Windows 3, 6. Wait, is that
no,
what
we're going on the Intune and the
autopilot.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so a little story. I am right before COVID. I mean, it's early March 2020. I'm on a ski lift in Big Sky, Montana. Guy next to me, turns out he's a Microsoft guy. And he's the guy who's there to bring autopilot to the masses. And he's the one who clues me in about autopilot and what's going on. And autopilot is awesome. So basically what happens with autopilot is we buy a computer. We tell whoever we bought it from, great, I want you to register that with autopilot. Again, we haven't touched the computer yet. Well, I want you to register that with autopilot, which is with Microsoft, in that company's Microsoft tenant in their autopilot. And then we've got their autopilot configured to do a whole bunch of things. So what happens is the user gets the computer. Again, it went straight to the user. We never touched it, okay? We never touched this computer. It goes straight to the computer, to the user. The user opens it up, turns it on, logs in with their Microsoft username and password, and autopilot takes over. What's it gonna do? It's gonna do things like configure all kinds of stuff. It's gonna what web page should be your home page, what browser should be on the system, what apps should be on the system. It's going to go and it's going to download apps and install apps for you.
So if there's a company Zoom, a company Adobe, company Dropbox, company XYZ, when they log in with their Windows 365 account, basically everything starts loading up on the machine, everything down to printers and OneDrive shares and SharePoint shares. And it's not necessarily Microsoft stuff. It could be non-Microsoft stuff. But the beauty of it is you ship the machine from Dell or whatever distributor, Lenovo, whatever it is, and then everything starts loading up as soon as they log in. And this could be done with Mac as well, right?
That's right.
So we could get an Apple sent over. There's something called Apple Business Manager. When you buy it from an authorized distributor, the machine gets enrolled in the company's tenant, and then you have your mobile device management, which is a piece of Microsoft or other companies that allows this magic to happen. And when they log in, everything just happens, right?
Yeah, it's great. They open up the machine, just same thing. Apple Business Manager takes over. We've got Apple Business Manager set to register that machine with Intune, which is Microsoft's mobile device manager, MDM. Intune sees it. Great. Now Autopilot takes over, and once again, a machine has been configured and ready to go for the user. And it didn't take the delay of coming to us or anything like that. It went straight to the user. Put it there.
Wait, so now I have another question.
Okay.
Why is it important? Why can't they use their own computer?
Oh, wait. Do we want to get on? Yeah, we can get on security. Sure. Well, for one,
right. Like if let's say a friend walks up to me, I have everything's in the cloud. They could use their own computer, right? Let the employee just use their own computer. What's so not great about that?
So to some extent, the answer is that might be okay. But to another extent, there's I have no idea what's going on that computer. I don't know where that computer's been. I don't know. These kids are playing games on it. I don't know what's going on with that machine. It could be an absolute nightmare,
right,
and a support nightmare. Oh, I've got the computer. I'm just going to log in, and then suddenly the guy's got all kinds of problems on problems on problems. Furthermore, like we have some clients that say, I want our work to only be done on our computers, and that's the way we're securing things. And you can do that with everything we're talking about here, especially as far as like things like DLP goes. But I feel like you were getting at more why they shouldn't be using their own machines.
Yeah, I mean, I think the data loss prevention, which is DLP, is an acronym that's used in the industry for data loss prevention. And basically, there's this concept of companies wanting to keep and retain their data and not have it leak outside the organization. And the way that you can do that is if you're taking advantage of the more sophisticated security controls in Office 365, in Google Apps, in all these applications, and you could basically make sure that the data can't leave those devices. And if an employee is onboarded, they have access to it, and then when they're offboarded, everything could be erased with one touch of a button, right? So they can't really even copy and paste the data off the machine if you want to take it to that extent. And as you mentioned, there's security concerns, right? You don't know what's going on with the computer if it's not something that's been onboarded by IT, right?
I don't even know if it has antivirus on it.
Correct.
I don't know if
it
has
not
any
have
of these
antivirus.
things.
You want to have those best practices on those computing devices, and you want to, more importantly, retain control of it. If you want to turn something on, turn something off, you can only do it through these centralized control panels, which Microsoft and others let you leverage. But then there's the concept of Windows 365, which I found very interesting. Let's talk about this one, because this one is very compelling to me.
1 second, though, because we got people checking in. We got people checking in from Canada, from probably just a few blocks away. What's going on, Jeff? Philomena. How did I do on that name? Yeah, mega. Okay.
And Esther, Natasha saying she can't see the webinar. If you could direct message her the link, that would be great.
Kim, we will get to that. Oh, that's an interesting one. We're going to get to that in a little while when we get to offboarding. Okay, good. Oh, yes. Okay, good. All right, everybody. I'm loving it. Keep the comments coming.
Let's talk Windows.
We'll get to those things.
Windows 365.
Okay, so Windows 365. Yes. So this is part of the progression of Microsoft into cloud computing. God, I remember when Microsoft was like, no, it has to be the desktop, and that's it. So what Microsoft has done is created a cloud computer for a user. You may have seen this in other ways of doing it, but this is like they've really broken it down to user A needs a computer. Great. I buy a license from Microsoft for a Windows 365 computer. I assign it to the user. The user logs in and either on like portal.office.com or windows365.microsoft.com, I think of the URLs, and they see their computer right there. They can click on it and use that computer in the browser. So just that's like I don't even need to install software. I just do that. So I can just use that computer in the browser, or I can download a little application and use remote desktop with that computer and connect to it a different way. But the nice thing about this whole thing is that's a computer that lives in the cloud that user can connect to from anywhere. And it's a computer that's managed via all of the things we've talked about, like Intune, and you can, as IT, you can, well, manage the computer however much you need.
So you're saying you could have complete control of that computer, and you get the best of both worlds because you can bring your own device without putting the organization at risk, right? So they could connect from their iPhone, their iPad, their Google Chromebook, their Windows computer, their Mac computer. And this is a scenario where you can safely say, use your own computer to connect to my computer that I'm in complete control of. And I know that where the data is sanitized, there's antivirus on it, all the best practices are being followed, and the person can't run away with the information if he was someone that had bad intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got onboarding, new computer. You could procure it, direct ship it to the user with sophisticated stuff like Microsoft Intune and Autopilot. And you could have no computer, which is computerless because the computer's in the cloud that you can access from any device. I kind of like that one. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I think that one's the future possibly,
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I love that one.
We'll see. So what's another thing that we run into, like in terms of making it easier to have a remote workforce? Would you say single sign-on falls on the list? And if so, tell me why.
Oh, you know how much I love single sign-on.
You guys have a thing, right?
Yeah. We do. Single sign-on is the best. It makes just everything so much easier for IT and especially for the user. So now, great, I have to provision the user. I'm IT, I've got to make the user. Well, but if I've got single sign-on on, everything, this whole thing goes much easier. What do? What is single sign-on? Single sign-on is the idea that when I'm going to, say, Dropbox, and I go to log in, that login on Dropbox is actually being forwarded to Microsoft. So I'm logging in with my Microsoft ID. When I have to go to, say, bill.com, I forward that, and I go to log in, it forwards me to Microsoft to log in. What you get out of this, as far as the user is concerned, is I only really have to know one username and password. And on the other side, and the IT guy, if he ever wants to log, just creating the user is great. You just create the user, you assign him in the various SSO buckets. You can do it with dynamic groups where it all gets created on its own. And that's it, they're ready to go. On the admin side, you also get that they've got better security, right? Because I'm applying Microsoft security and I know that their MFA is on. I don't check 14 different places. All I have to do is check Microsoft, require it to be on. And when I'm ready to offboard, I just disconnect their Microsoft. I actually didn't have to disconnect anything. I just go into Microsoft and click block sign in. Boom, they're gone from everything that they were using single sign-on to get onto.
So how does this help in the real world? It makes it easier for the employee. They only have to know one password. It eliminates tickets to the help desk and calls to IT support. The administration and the corporate side could shut something on or off very quickly without being prone to human error. So it's really awesome, and it's something I'd say it's almost a must-have if you're all remote, right?
Oh yeah.
What's going to happen? The employee's not going to remember their HubSpot password.
How many calls are you going to get? I can't log in. I haven't logged into that one in a couple of weeks, and I don't remember what that username and password is.
Right. So that's an awesome thing. And then,
hey, Pooja, how's it going?
Hey,
Canada. We're getting a lot of Canada
and Jeff
today.
sits on the phone. If anyone needs a business coach, this guy is the best. He just recently wrote a book. Check it out. He's on this direct message him, Jeffrey Sit. And actually, that's a good one, right? How do you manage the employees remotely? To me, the most important thing is KPIs, right? You got to have KPIs. You got to have KPIs. The only way to have good KPIs is to leverage software. Leverage software as a service. If someone's calling people all day, they have to use a CRM. If someone works off of time, they have to bill for their time, right? You could check and hold people accountable based on KPIs, and software is the way to do that. So if you're only leveraging a little itty bitty part of the cloud, maybe just Office 365 or just Google Apps, there's a lot more you can go to make your employees accountable and effective, right? Would you agree with that one?
Absolutely.
So definitely have KPIs and talk to your business coach if you don't, because you need them. It's definitely important. What else we got?
Well, if all your stuff is in the cloud, if we kind of touched on this a little bit in other places, but if all your stuff's in the cloud, that makes the whole onboarding thing a ton easier. I don't even have to install apps on machines. I just need to tell them where they're going, okay, here's where you go. Point your web browser to this, and boom, you're in. There's all these things that just work a whole lot better if it's all in the cloud, and I don't have to install apps and move files and do any of that. But you know what we didn't talk about is
What do you got?
checklists.
Checklists. We got to have checklists.
Well, for us, it's super key, but it really is super key for, it's key everywhere. Have you guys ever read the Checklist Manifesto?
Yeah,
Great book.
Good book. Check it out.
Quick read, just so simple, and checklists are so key. And for us, so we are handling a whole bunch of companies, right? For every single company, we've got a new user checklist, an onboarding computer checklist, and an offboarding checklist. So new user, terminated user, onboarding the computer, and it's invaluable to us. We would not be able to do an onboarding correctly without it. Like, if you don't have a checklist, you're going to miss something in your onboarding.
Jeff says key checklist. Have a checklist. So everyone have a checklist. You can't have enough of them. For every project we do, there's a checklist. You can't hold it all in your head. Have an effective onboarding. Even we have tools that hold our checklist so we could find them quickly and be efficient with that, because we just have so many of them, right?
Yeah.
So definitely have a checklist. What about training?
So now the guys, we've onboarded them. This, by the way, is kind of where I step out of the ring and Jeff steps in on training and stuff, or the rest of the guys step in on training. I'm the one who usually provisions. So yeah, I mean, now the guy's got everything, but doesn't know what he's doing, right? There needs to be some training here. And for us, we use a bunch of different things, and we found like there were some things that really worked. Like, it sounds crazy. Okay, so we have an office in New York and we have an office in Atlanta. Most of the help desk is in Atlanta. When we want to train somebody, even the on-site guys here in New York, we send them down to Atlanta for a week or two, and they sit with the guys down there, and that's the way they train. We make that investment to get them all together, and that is just it works so well for us, that sort of training, much better than it would have worked any other way.
Also, culture and team building. I mean, look, the fact is there's remote only workforces now, so that may not be so possible. But Esther once wrote a post on LinkedIn. I remember this one, Esther. Somebody said, some HR manager or something said, what if we invest in training our employees and they leave us? And then the other person, the CEO, said, what if we don't invest in training and they stay? How does that feel to you? So you got to train your employees. Yes, they could leave you. Have a healthy culture. We're going to have other webinars on culture and core values and how that's essential to retaining employees. But you have to train your people to be effective. If you want to have.
Let's say you're not sending the people somewhere. Let's say you're not getting them together. Then
Great question. I mean, I find that, first of all, there's a wealth of knowledge. Like, first of all, if you're leveraging software as a service, like HubSpot, like Xero, like, whatever it is, we have many things in our business. They have tons of training content. We make sure that our employees are watching that content when they're onboarded. So they don't come in and start working. They come in and start training. They're going to spend another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the job, watching videos, understanding how to use their tools to the best degree, and making sure that they know they're equipped to do their job in the most efficient possible manner. So that's one. Then we have company-specific stuff like processes in our organization. How do you give someone a price quote on a computer? How do you buy the computer? How do you work a ticket? How do you triage a ticket? All these things are great for one-on-one. But how do you do one-on-one remotely? Obviously, we're leveraging, everyone knows Zoom at this point. Everyone knows Teams at this point. Everyone knows Google. All these tools that could do video one-on-one, group to many, many to group. Collaboration is there, but one key feature that not everyone uses is the recording feature. Tell us about the recording feature.
So just from recording, okay, so here we go. We've got our procurement team, bringing those guys back again. We slotted someone else into procurement. So the first time we actually did the procurement training, that got recorded. All those webinars got recorded. And the next time we were slotting someone into procurement, it was, wow, no end of help just to be able to say, there's the recording, you can check it out. And it's not like, there's the recording, I'll see you later, but there's a recording, this is going to help you get started. I'm here to back that up once you've gone through those recordings. And we have a whole library of recordings now because, well, we've been doing this for 2 years. And yeah, they sit on our intranet, I'm going to call it, I guess. And it's everything from our VCIO processes, our procurement processes, our triage processes. We've gotten a lot of these onto recorded video that new people can see, and it's great.
Awesome, right? And you're also you're implementing leverage in the training process because the trainer doesn't have to train over and over again, right? And you're freeing up a resource in your organization, and they're watching and learning custom policies and processes that the organization does on a daily basis. So, I think that was huge for us, and we really leveraged it when Corona hit. And I think everyone that's onboarding people remotely definitely leverage that, I would say. What else we got?
We got Esther is thrilled that someone actually read her post.
Esther, I do not always like them because my mind's all over the place, but I do read them.
Yeah, they're good posts. Yeah, I'm sure people will read them. They're definitely good posts. I see the metrics, so yes, I do know they get read. We talked about video training from providers. Yes, okay, good. So, and then there's these things called learning management systems. We don't actually use these, but they do exist out there. It's the short, of course, everything it's got an acronym, LMS, Learning Management System, and they are essentially what they sound like. It's a way to manage a user's training from beginning to end once they enter a company.
Holding them accountable for it, make sure that they watched it and went through it. So you could build and leverage those platforms, but train. That's definitely the key.
Which I think our training pretty much looks like, person comes in, they do a bunch of the video trainings from the SaaS provider. So we've got a thing called ConnectWise. So we've put them in ConnectWise University where they go and they see a whole bunch of videos about how things are done. So now they've got a basis of what's going on in those softwares. Then they get turned over to whoever they're going to train with. That way they're not walking in completely like, oh, how'd you do that in that software? How'd you do that in that software? It makes sense to them when we show them the process and they're able to do it. Show them the process using the software and they are able to do it. And then it goes from there. It's just a ton of training and yeah, they get it over time.
Invest in training and have a great culture. I think those are two key things on remote workforce. What else do we got?
Okay, so now they're ready to work. Right?
Now what?
Well, they're mostly ready to work. Have we dealt with security yet?
Let's talk about security.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So let's see. Let's just go with, there's 4 different brands of security. There's your email. Do I want to go into that? No, let's just go straight into how I'm securing those people in wherever they are. We talked about bring your own device. I think we mentioned DLP. We did. You want to go into that further?
Yeah.
DLP is the idea that the company has information, and we may not want that leaking out of the company. It could be by mistake, and it could be maliciously. This exists, this concept of protecting that, and especially like for example, Microsoft's DLP offering is great. If I am in any sort of thing, I'm in healthcare, I'm in finance, I'm in who knows what, I'm in Europe, and I have to deal with GDPR. Microsoft's got this really well dialed in. It's so nice and easy to apply DLP to a company. You basically say, okay, that person's in healthcare and they need that compliance, and it applies a bunch of rules there. This side of it is the mistakenly sending something out. So if you go and you try, and those rules are on your organization, and you try to send out someone's social security number, the DLP software will block it. And that's the sort of thing that DLP does. It's looking for things that I don't know if that should be heading outside the company, and it blocks them. And then on the other side of blocking something malicious, Microsoft's got they just changed the name, Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, I think is what they call it these days. And it's the sort of thing that you can apply to other services like Dropbox, Box, and whatever. And if it sees things like someone's downloading a ton of files, it's going to block that. It's going to flag that, notify administrators, block that, do that sort of thing.
So there's really, we touched on it on the onboarding because it kind of commingles, but there's two ways to do it if you want to do it right. That's one of our core values, do it right. If you're gonna have a computer and have apps on it and whatever, it has to be issued by IT, can't be bring your own device. And if you do want to bring your own device, do Windows 365 or something like it where the user can use any device they want and they're connecting to company property and nothing can leave it, and you have complete control. So you have the proper security controls, you have the proper data loss prevention measures in place and all that stuff. So those are two ways to go.
Hang on, Jeff's got a great comment here. I would add to your onboarding checklist a follow-up 60 days after day one with HR or proper person, which is great. It's just a check-in of, hey, how are you doing?
How's it going?
How's it going?
How's it going? Are you happy?
Are you happy? Do you have everything you need?
You have everything you need to
I can't quite get into that.
Yeah. And Kim brings up a question, which I'm not sure if I know the answer to some or all of it, but how do you get the employee to return the company property? And how do you handle remote I-9 verifications? I-9 is a form that everyone fills out when they get a job. It's something about the federal government, and they expect to have a physical piece of paper. Great question on that. I would ask an HR person. I don't know if DocuSign or something like that could potentially fit in that case, and if it's legally bindable. But Esther, maybe you could connect him with one of your HR contacts. I know you have a huge network. As far as returning the laptop, I know what my answer is, but it's not quite the full answer. What do you say?
So I was going to get into this when we were on to offboarding, which later on. But yeah, with an MDM, with something like Intune, I can lock that computer out. I can do this to Windows and Mac. I can brick a computer. Give it back to me. I'll make sure it's never usable again. With certain machines, I can see where they are in the world, which is also great. I can put messages on the screen. There's all kinds of things I can do with a mobile device manager to A, see where it is, B, lock the user out, C, send messages onto the screen to make sure something happens.
The company data is protected. The machine is worthless to the user, but you don't quite have the machine back. Is there anything technology-wise that can make the machine come back to you? I can't think of anything.
No.
I think you could call Apple if something's stolen, and they could.
What are they going to do?
I don't know what they could do.
They could just say, they can brick the computer or something.
I guess, or if it ever walks into an
Apple store. Yeah.
Okay. But what about managing the employee, making sure that, okay, you have a great culture, you train them, you're secure, everything's great. What if the employee's just not great? You mishired. How do you know what he's actually doing?
Wait, do you want to jump there yet? Or are we still on the things like EDR and the new buzzwords in the IDP, the new buzzwords in the industry?
Well, we spoke about securing the environment, which we could do, right? We could do that, like we said, through not bring your own device and having IT deploy the machines, which you could do remotely and quickly without ever touching the machine. And we talked about Windows 365, which is definitely one way to go. Is there more to talk about on that? It's up to you, man.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so EDR. Here we go. We've got users all over the place, and they are not in an office. They're not sitting around in an office and all together, where me as the IT person kind of knows what's going on. I've got users all over the place. I have no idea what's going on those computers. What EDR does is the next level of antivirus. It's telling the console, IT, all kinds of things that are going on that computer, so that IT can say, okay, great, that's cool. This is not cool. We got a problem. What are the things that EDR is going to find? It's going to find stuff like, oh, there's a hacker sitting on your computer, and you need to deal with that. It's not something IT would notice if it wasn't in their office. It's something you don't quite have that same visibility. Something like EDR on an EDR service applied to the organization would be great. It's great for finding things like that out. In fact, it's a question on the cyber insurance questionnaire these days. Do you have
the dreaded
EDR?
cyber insurance questionnaire?
Right.
We did a webinar on the cyber insurance questionnaire, and you could go to our YouTube channel to watch that. But cyber insurance, it's going up. They're charging more. People have gotten hacked. They've lost data because of not following these sorts of ideas, concepts, multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, no bring your own device, all these things that we're talking about. You don't technically need insurance if you do it right? I kind of feel that way.
What? You're crazy.
The bad guys are gonna come up with the next thing.
Yes.
Why? If we
Cat
did
and mouse.
that, and that, can
Cat and
anything
mouse.
bad happen to you?
Yes, I'm sorry to say, but it's a cat and mouse game, and there's always something. It's remarkable how smart hackers are. Like, just apply that for good. The world would be so much better place.
Okay, that's another conversation. So what I was getting at before was,
You don't think so?
I don't think so. With all these crazy things that Microsoft and others came out with, we got a company issued machine with all cloud apps, nothing local. You got multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, EDR, all these advanced things that have been developed in response to these evil actors. I feel like it's pretty good.
I can get in. Want me to show you how?
How?
Okay, so a person uses their Microsoft credentials on another site, right? So they have to create an account on, Target online, and they use their Microsoft credentials because people always share, but people always reuse their credentials, and it's their username and password. Great, Target gets hacked. Sorry, Target, to say, throw you under the bus on this one. They get hacked. That username and information gets out onto the web, onto the dark web.
Okay.
I'm a hacker. I buy that database. Now I've got a username and password for somebody. Let me tell you, the first thing I'm doing with that username and password, I have their email address. I have their company name. I have their domain. I'm going to try to log on to their email. Hopefully, MFA is on. You said MFA is on, so let's go there. If MFA is on,
this is where you get the code to your phone or something like that, right?
So if you're at the situation where you get the code to your phone, where it texts you a code, you can spoof that. I forget what it's called. There's a cellular spoofing where I can get the text that's meant for you.
That's crazy. That's why we don't recommend text necessarily. Use the Authenticator app.
But what does Microsoft have? They've got their identity protection service.
Correct.
So what does identity protection do? This is something that we suggest to our clients because it's really just another level of understanding what's going on as far as the login and saying, that's not quite okay. Identity protection is looking at so much more than your username and password and whether you passed MFA. It's way beyond that. It's looking at where you're logging in from, what machine you're logging in from, where you logged in from last time, what's on your computer, is the right software on your computer, stuff like that. So what are they seeing? If they see me log on from New York and then log on from Australia 10 minutes later, I can't get from New York to Australia in 10 minutes. It's impossible. It's that sort of thing. I knew the password, the username, password, and MFA was right both times. It would have gotten in, but their identity protection service is looking for things like that, and it's going to flag that and say, no, that
So
was.
you
that
still
was cool
think
login.
with all that? Okay, have cyber insurance, but definitely have this stuff first. Don't get hacked.
Yes.
Just don't do it. Okay, we got Reggie here. Reggie, what's up?
Yeah, Reggie.
He says MFA apps all the way. Reggie, we're going to hit up Chipper in a little while. If you want to come say hi with us.
Mikey, this is awesome. Mikey from Mansky from Chile is on. How's it going, man?
And Ivan says what's up. So we're loving the love. What else do we got? I feel like we're mostly there. Oh, what I was getting at, which you wanted to talk about security, was monitoring what people are doing.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so you mentioned the metrics and stuff before, but if you want to actually monitor a user, there are things like ActiveTrack out there, and ActiveTrack is great. It shows you exactly what's going on a computer over time. So I can actually see like screenshots that I can basically link into a sort of a video of what's happening on that screen. I can see what they're typing. I can see what websites they're going to. I can see what apps they have open and are using. Not only that, but I can get metrics on all of that, which is great because I don't want to sit and go through everybody's computer timeline. I just want to know what they're doing. So if I see that a user's on Facebook all day and I get metrics like that from ActiveTrack, I know there's a problem there.
Right. So they're on Facebook for 2 hours a day. They're in your whatever application for 1 hour a day. They're idle for 4 hours a day. That means not touching the computer. That's not a good thing, right?
Right.
Unless they're in meetings and in-person stuff. That would be nice.
So my nephew, he works finance, bond trading. The system they have set up is if he doesn't click his mouse every 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Shows him as away, and everybody knows he's away, and it's a big problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look, there's ideas out there. I still go back to having a good company culture. That's the number one thing to have effective employees. They got to love where they work,
yes.
and they got to love what they do. We should do another webinar on that.
On culture is so key,
Yeah.
so key.
So
But
culture, training, those are two big ones.
all you New Yorkers out there was a New York law that just got passed that you definitely need to know about if you're going to do the sort of ActiveTrack monitoring that we were talking about. It's a law, and again, I'm a computer guy, I'm not a lawyer, but it's a law that says, hey, if you're going to monitor an employee, you need to tell them first. And they have to sign off on it. I don't care when you tell them, but you have to tell them. That's the way I understand the law.
Speak to your lawyer.
Yeah.
Jeff Sitt, we'll see you next time. Thanks for thanking us. And I would definitely speak to a lawyer on that. But yes, there was recently some announcements about that and sharing privacy.
Yeah, that's key. So
yeah,
what I took from it is get that sign-off sheet into your onboarding documents. You don't want to be sending the guy the sign-off sheet a day before, like 2 years into him working for you, you're going to send him a sign-off sheet that says, hey, I'm about to monitor you, and then start monitoring him. I mean, come on.
Right.
So have that monitoring sign-off in your onboarding document. He signs it right to begin with, and then you can turn on monitoring anytime you want, or never. It doesn't matter.
All right. So what else do we got?
Well, let's see. She's gone through.
I think we're pretty
got
good.
Everything that they've got the computer, they've been trained, they're on board, they're working.
Secure training.
Hopefully everything's in the cloud and you don't have to use
get
paper.
rid of paper. Get rid of paper. I mentioned this on previous webinars. We don't write checks anymore. We obviously try and pay with credit card where we can, but not all vendors accept that. Bill.com is a great resource. You can send e-payments to anyone with that. Syncs up with your accounting system, and post it as paid back and forth. There's so many tools out there.
So when someone bills us and you need to pay them, what do you do?
The invoice gets ingested into Bill.com, and then it gets approved. Then it gets posted to the accounting package. We use Xero. Then you go into Bill.com. You check what you want to pay whenever you want to pay it, and it pays it.
They send the check?
They send an e-payment, and if they need a physical check, they'll charge you like 50 cents or $1 for a physical check.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great stuff. You got DocuSigns of the world, all that stuff. Again, I don't know if that qualifies for an I-9, but there's really no more need for paper. Once in a while, I have a piece of paper on my desk. I use my OneDrive app or my Dropbox app to use the scanning function so that I could just sign it and send it.
This one just came up in a meeting 2 hours ago. We found out that one of our clients was, oh my God, how many times have I heard this one now? printing something out, signing it, scanning it back in, and emailing it. And in fact, that person didn't have a printer at their own house. They were going to a friend down the block every time they needed to do this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, like, what are you trying to sign? And he said, yeah, we're trying to sign a PDF. So there we go. We got on and showed him that in Adobe Reader, not the free version of Adobe Reader, you can sign a document right there and send that off. It's all built in to the free version of Adobe Reader. So this idea that you're printing something, you're signing it, or oh my God, who was it that was living upstate? She was printing it, driving 45 minutes, having it signed, driving 45 minutes back, putting it in an envelope and sending it out.
Yeah.
All that can be done digitally for free, in fact. And if you have DocuSign, then and you're sending out stuff to be signed, great. Now it all gets tracked in a legal way and it doesn't get lost, which is great.
If anyone has any questions, I think we're getting close to wrapping up. Please throw it in the chat. So what, in our experience, first of all, have a great culture, right?
Yeah, how's it going out there?
We want our employees to love where they work. So work on that culture thing. If you haven't done it yet and you need a business coach to help you, I strongly recommend that.
We said everything in offboarding, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
So
we said remote wipe.
Have a great culture, number one.
Yes.
Second of all, onboard effectively. Either do the bring your own device thing and company issued computers efficiently through stuff like autopilot and mobile device management, or just go like the Windows 365 route and you don't have to they can use their own devices. We talk about securing the environment, making sure you're using multi-factor authentication with single sign-on to make their lives easier. So they're not reporting to the help desk, hey, what's my password for this? What's my password for that? Leverage your tools. There's so much out there. We mentioned Bill.com, Teams, Dropbox, Office 365, everything cloud. Get your company in the cloud. Reggie says Okta. I'm more of an Azure AD fan, my man, but let's definitely have lunch and talk about it because we're in that camp, right? So you want to basically invest in training, in-person training, remote training. Don't hire people and have them start on day one. Let them spend a few weeks training. Key. Security and monitoring if you have to, if you feel that your company needs that. And then have KPIs. KPIs can hold people accountable. So make them use systems where the KPIs can be created against, be it time entries, dials on a CRM, orders, revenue, sales, I don't know, whatever it is. Judge people against their KPIs and then make offboarding easier by leveraging these key technologies. What did I miss? Anything?
Oh, that was an amazing wrap up.
Okay.
All you missed was for me not to sit next to the window on a sunny day next time because I'm baking over here.
Okay. Next time we'll shift rooms. And it was great to do this. Having so much fun with it. Keep watching. We're gonna put more content out there. What's the next one? Oh, my favorite topic.
The wrap up music is playing. What's the favorite topic? Go.
It's fish.
Oh, that's right. Yes, the fish webinar. The fish LinkedIn Live is coming. Not a webinar. It's a discussion. Let's all get together and talk some fish. I can't wait.
So if you like the jam
Summer
band
tour
scene and you like fish,
in full swing.
We're going to have a business fish little situation going on. I'm going to Dave Matthews tonight. I'm amped up. Are you going?
Yep.
Sick. All right, guys. We had the best time. If there's any questions, please reach out to Esther directly or any of us. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.